Well, hello everybody. I'd like to thank you again for joining me for another, it sounds silly to say, episode of Cajun Black Convo with Rico. Um, Thank you for coming and visiting with me again. We were talking the last time just about some of the unrest that's going on here in our country. And it is really sad. However, it is very necessary if we're going to shift the paradigm in this country and move things forward. I mean, we've been talking about it for a long time, giving it a lot of lip service, and lip service is good because it gets people to thinking and having conversations. But then the action needs to follow it up, and help it to follow through. Um, and this is the time. And I'd like to really thank our young people because right now they're the ones who are sort of leading this quest, per se, leading the marches. They're very vocal, but they're out there doing things, and we need that. We need for many more of the middle-aged community, like myself, and the older generations, to of course, continue voting as many of us do, but also continue to make our voices heard. Listen to what the young people are saying. After all, we always say the children are the future. This is the world that they're going to inherit. Take what they're saying very seriously. They want change. They want to move forward, and they want racial unity, even though it may seem like there's a little discord. In fact, they are actually pushing to be closer together. That discord, where it seems like discord to us, is them working in conjunction with each other, together, cohesively, to try and make change, so the world can be better for them and their children. I think we are far beyond having multi-ethnic families be something that people think of as a nice exception to the rule. Um, Far beyond having to think that, oh my God, maybe we should go back to segregation, because at least then, even though we didn't have as much or weren't doing as well as our Caucasian peers necessarily, but we made the absolute very best of what we had, and we took pride in it, and we were having some gains in economic growths because we were supporting ourselves and building ourselves up and things like that. And it doesn't seem like we can do it in the society that we're in. And you know what? In some ways, you're right. We couldn't, not with the specter of racism looming over us all the time, and people um, trying to destroy every single opportunity that we had as a culture or a subculture of African Americans within the greater American culture to advance. But what the children are saying is that there's possibilities for everyone, and that we need to come together, and we need to work it, and move and push the paradigm forward. And what many of the youth and also our white and other non-black allies are doing should be greatly appreciated, because I believe, because of the help that they're giving, I think that we actually have a shot. We have a real chance at being able to overcome this thing that we call racism, this ghoul, as I said, the specter, I called it earlier, this whatever, this ghost from years past that has just sort of hung over us like this vague and yet wretched cloud of sorts that it makes it hard for us to see a brighter future and a brighter day, because we're still being tied down by all of that pain and oppression of the past. And there are some that are going to say, well, we're beyond that. We've had a black president. We've had the civil rights movement. We've had all of that. and yet we're still here talking about race. We're still having to remind people that Black Lives Matter. We're still fighting as Black people to advance, and we're still feeling ourselves being oppressed and held back. So clearly, we haven't moved past it. But I actually think that we have an opportunity now. But we've got to, again, dig in and root out that racism. And that racism, I'll tell you, it comes in the strangest places sometimes. I mean, it sometimes comes from the people that we expect to protect and serve. Wow. I mean, that's unbelievable. You know, we used to have to worry about the KKK. Now we have to worry about whether or not the KKK is infiltrating our police departments. Are the neo-Nazis infiltrating our police departments? Are there covert racists in our police departments, the people that we rely on? Let me ask you, when you're in danger and you need someone to turn to, you're looking for a hero and you're looking for an officer that can help you, what do you do when you're at risk of being murdered and the very people you have to reach out to are the people that are murdering you? Who do you run to when you're being chased by monsters and the monsters are the ones that are there to try and supposedly protect and serve you? Now, this is not an attack on police officers, because there are good police officers. Some people have a problem with me and people like me saying that, not because they don't necessarily believe that there are, but they're like, we don't have to keep apologizing. We don't have to play respectability politics. We don't have to change our tone. We've been too nice for too long. If they don't get it, too bad. And in some ways I kind of agree, but in other ways it's not just about respectability politics. I just believe in being honest. And I also think that, you know, you don't want to hurt people's feelings unnecessarily so, when it's not true, even though we do want to spur them into action to kind of help. We need the good police officers to step in and help. The same way that there were many whites that helped on the Underground Railroad, there were many white abolitionists that helped. Black people couldn't do it all on their own. So even today, the same thing is happening. They're helping in this modern civil rights movement. We can't do it all alone or all on our own. And we also need good police officers to help too. They have to break this supposed code or whatever there is that's out there that where they have to protect each other and they can't rat out a bad cop or whatever, because it could be their children's life at stake the next time, or grandchildren and things like that. And that brings me to another good point. You know, people evolve and change, and you never know what you're going to accept necessarily until you're in that situation. I know that there have been people, some racist whites and some very racially prejudiced blacks, who thought that they could never ever have a member of another race in their family, and perhaps they never ever would, and probably never did marry interracially. However, sometimes their kids and their grandkids have different, opinions, and what happens is this. Sometimes that brings about a change in a family, and many times, if the people are reasonable and willing to learn and open their hearts start to change. So what happens when you've been endorsing racism for, 50, 60, 70 years, and all of a sudden you've got a black grandchild, and you're worried about, are the police going to kill my black grandchild? And you haven't disowned that grandchild. You actually have learned to have a special love and had a change of heart for people that are not like you because of that grandchild. And now all of a sudden that grandchild is in danger. I mean, that's a big possibility, especially in today's world, especially with today's youth. It does happen. So, and I know I may be preaching to the choir, because many a times those people that need to be hearing that probably aren't going to be tuning in to watch or listen to me because of this good chocolate skin. However, you never know. They might just decide to click on it to see what he's saying. Sometimes they have an agenda. Let's see what he's saying so that we can work against it, because we need to silence people like him. And then you never know. They might realize, hey, he's making some sense, and rethink some things. So, whoever's listening right now, I welcome you. And I thank you for being here and being a part of this. And, I believe that all people can learn and grow. Like I said, I was not perfect my whole life. I'm not even perfect now. And I definitely had, when I was young, for a little while, I said I went through my selfish stage in my late teens. I think I came out of it a better person as I've grown over the years. And I do believe that people can change. I do believe that, for example, someone like Mark Wahlberg, because I'm sure many of you heard about the incidences with him when he was young, who may have had some issues with people of other ethnicities, but now is embracing a different ideology. I think that can happen. People and their thoughts are dynamic and fluid and changing if they allow them to be. And I think that we have to give people an opportunity to learn and grow. I don't care who it is. We might at first give them a little bit of a hard time, because we need to see if they're really there, if that's really what they're trying to do, move forward and grow. But I do believe that they can. Some really good people had some really messed up points of view. And I think that people, even like the good Dr. Martin Luther King, would agree with that. We know that, for example, Gandhi had some messed up views about black people when he was younger that he shed as he got older, as far as we know. And we can only base it on what a person says. They know what their hearts are. But this is the thing. If you've ever changed your mind about anything, you have to believe that other people can too. And so Dr. Martin Luther King, we know, he did appreciate Gandhi and some of his philosophies and views and stuff like that. And I don't think it would have been so easy for him to do that, per se, if Gandhi had not had a shift. So people can change, and that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to change and or correct the narrative. We're trying to change and or correct these travesties and egregious acts that happened in the past. We're trying to make a better future, a better today, and a better tomorrow. All right, so I'll tell you what. I've been online reading some things. I've been on my Facebook and just on different news sites and things like that. And it's just, just can't make some of this stuff up. I get so upset. There goes my pen. I get so upset. And that's why I've just decided to start talking with you guys, especially since so many of us are kind of stuck here in the house right now. I see my friend Erica is inboxing me. I'll have to talk to her when I get done. Erica. Okay, so that's why I decided to talk to you. I mean, we're all stuck in the house right now most of the time anyway, and so it's a good time for us to just have some good conversation. So, with this, see that? Cops fired over violent racist talk about black people. We're going to start slaughtering them. Here it goes. We're just going to go out and start slaughtering them, one of the fired officers said, according to the police summary. Wow. Oh my God, this is not the officer that said it, but I'm showing you right there. That is the Wilmington Police Chief, Donny Williams. Donny Williams, he's the police chief over there in Wilmington. But anyway, so basically it's this. The Williamson Police Chief, Donny Williams, identified James Gilmore, Jesse Moore II, and Kevin Piner as the officers who were fired for some racist comments, okay? They were calling black people niggers, the N-word, niggers, Um, they were talking negative about Black Lives Matter and saying a lot of racially insensitive things about them and the protests. They were also saying racially insensitive things about their co-workers, fellow officers, including their police chief. Wow, imagine that. And all of this was found on video footage, recorded footage in Officer Piner's patrol car. And so when it was all brought to light, they had to act on this and let them go. I mean, after all, protect and serve, who are they going to be protecting and serving, especially talking about slaughtering people that look like me? It's a shame because we are all more connected than we even realize, you know? And I mean, I am a descendant of Thomas Jefferson. I am African American, though. I'm a descendant of Count Geoffrey de la Tour Landry of France, but I am African American. I mean, you know, I have ancestors that came from Spain and Portugal. I have Native American ancestors. My great grandmother was Caddo Indian, or you know, we now say Native American or Indigenous American, but you understand. So we're a whole lot more connected than people tend to understand or know. Now with genetic and ancestral DNA testing and things like that, you can find out all kinds of things too, beyond what you might know. There are some of you who may think, hey, I have no other type of ancestry other than what I can see when I look in the mirror, and you'd be so shocked. Of course, I wasn't shocked because, you know, I knew my family history based on my grandmother's. But there were some things even about my grandfathers that I didn't necessarily know. And for example, I didn't know that one of my grandfathers, I didn't know that he had Native American ancestry also. Another I did, but you know, you find these things out. So anyways, so it's there's a lot, and we just need to understand that we are all a lot more connected than we realize, and therefore we need to really try and come together just as the human race and not worry so much about all of these ethnic differences. It's great for us to have our Irish festivals and our Greek festivals and our African festivals and things like that, Nigerian fest, whatever we want to have. That's great, celebrating the food and cuisine and customs from these areas and countries and things like that. But let that be things that bring us together for celebration, not things that keep us apart. Okay? So yeah, I had some real issues with that. It was a bit much to me because I was just thinking, these are the people that are supposed to serve and protect, yet they're acting like thugs in blue. Okay, that doesn't mean that all police officers are thugs. It doesn't mean that they're all bad, but these guys and guys that think that way, that plan that way, that act that way, they are thugs. They are thugs. And even if a person of color or a white person were to commit a crime or were believed to have committed a crime, they are still owed due process. They have rights. You read them, they're Miranda rights. There are rights that they have that you're not supposed to infringe upon because, especially if they're citizens of the United States. But I think that just because they're human, we have human rights and we should be treated decently in order, the same way that we would want someone to, you know, treat ourselves, whomever's doing it, whoever the officer is. You need to treat people the way that you would want to be treated, and hopefully that's in a very good way and positive way, and respecting the fact that in this country we are innocent until proven guilty. It's not the other way around. We are not guilty until proven innocent. Okay? Give people their day in court. Don't take their opportunities away. You are not the judge, jury, and executioner. You don't get to kill people because they're black or because they're brown or even if they were white, because it works both ways. You don't get to kill people based on their ethnicity because you feel like you need to extinguish and eradicate that particular ethnic group of people. You're in the wrong line, and I hope all of those people get weeded out and rooted out, because they're definitely in the wrong line of work. And for the rest of you that are in the right line of work, you're supposed to be serving and protecting, helping. Yes, sometimes you got to arrest people and take people to jail because they may have potentially committed a crime, whatever. It is not your job. It is a jury and a judge's job to pronounce sentencing. You don't get to decide in the field whether these people live or die. I understand that there are special circumstances. Okay? But no one's life should just be taken easily, quickly, without reason. And some of the things that I've been saying, and there's a video that I saw also recently where they had the wrong guy. The guy that they were looking for was a little further down. They went and grabbed the wrong black guy, potentially broke his ribs. Oh, it was horrible. I should have had that prepared for you guys. But anyway, the wrong guy. And they had one officer just sneak up behind him and take him down, hurting this man. He's like, what's happening? What's going on? Just awful. He was not resisting. He was complying. It's wrong. It is wrong. I don't care if you're related to me. I don't care if you're my friend. I don't care if you're my enemy. If you think that it is okay, I'm sorry, you're part of the problem. It is not okay. Love you, but you're wrong. It is not okay. You knew, if you're an officer, when you got into this job, that there are some risks. And I'm not saying that you don't want to go home. And I'm not saying for you to just throw your life away and let people kill you. But at the same time, you don't just take people's lives randomly, at happenstance, whatever, just however. And yes, black and brown people are going to be afraid of you right now. And they might try and resist you a little bit right now. That doesn't mean kill them. They're resisting you because they're afraid and they think you're going to kill them anyway. So you have an obligation to de-escalate the situation. Yes, you do. We're not asking for you to just let people take advantage of you, because that would be sad of you to do that. But we're asking for you to do right by people. And understand they're going to be afraid of you right now, because I'm afraid of you. You know, because I'm a good citizen. And I know that you'll probably kill me if I try and resist or something like that. And so I'm thinking, if I do anything, even to try and show you or tell you or whatever, move the wrong way and tell you, to let you know that, hey, I'm not the person who, and I'm real dramatic, talk with my hands and things like that, you're probably going to kill me. And that scares me, because you can do it many times and get away with it. That's what scares me, because you have a legal right to kill. But you don't have a legal right to just kill people randomly and at will. There has to be a reason behind it. But you guys can fabricate that. And I'm not saying that all of you do, but you can. And that makes you dangerous to people like me in this climate that we're in today. Like it or not, and I'm not going to make it sound nice and change that. It makes you dangerous to people who look like me in the climate that we're living in today. And that is your responsibility to change that, because I can't change that for you. And if you really care about that and how you're perceived, and you want to do your job and you want to do it fairly, then you're going to change that. All right. Now, before I go, there's something else, because, you know, I always like to talk about Black people saving ourselves, hashtag BPSOS, hashtag Black people saving ourselves, all together. Okay, my baby, that's my baby, because, you know, yes, we have to worry about Black lives mattering. And Black lives do matter. They matter also, they matter too. Because we already know that all lives matter. So we just want people to know that Black and brown lives matter too. They matter also. Okay, but there is this idea that some people have about Black on Black crime and Black on Black murder. Okay, I'm not saying that it doesn't exist. I'm just saying it's not some special thing that we have, because all races have that same thing, that intra-racial or intra-community crime, intra-community killing, intra-community murders. All races have it. White people, it happens with them like 85 to 90% of the time. I think the last data was saying like 85%, but I've seen it at 87, 8, and 90% of the time. Whites are killed by whites. White people are killing white people. Okay, just like Black people are killing Black people. But nonetheless, Black people, we are in a special sort of situation where we've got so much going on in our community that we can't afford to be killing each other and hurting each other and committing these crimes and things like that. So we've got to do something about that. We've got to try and save ourselves. There are not a lot of opportunities and for a lot of Black people because of systemic racism, or the opportunities are there, but they're much harder for us to get to and to maneuver through and things like that. You know, again, because of systemic and institutional racism. So we have to work that much harder for those particular opportunities. But for people who do luck out and do get that chance, I first of all want to say thank you if you give back to the community, for all of those that are giving back to the community. Since you have been successful, like those people who produce jobs, those business owners and things like that, they may have become wealthy some type of way, maybe through their business, or maybe they were in show business or something like that, and then they turned that around and they opened up businesses or they employ people and things like that, helping to build wealth amongst not only Black people, but other Americans too, or other people too, of all ethnicities. So I thank those people, because that's what we need. We need Black entrepreneurs and Black people that can create opportunities for other Black people. And not just Black people, but for other people too, but still also for Black people, so that we can move up and be successful. That's one way to save ourselves, because if we have a very finite, limited amount of resources and everybody's clamoring for them, I mean, that starts to cause a problem also. And that starts to make people turn on each other and hurt each other. And of course, you know, if you're all caged up there together, you're going to start turning to the people that are caged up with you. And these cages don't have to be real cages with bars. They can be psychological cages that are put up because of lack of opportunity, because of the situations that we're in. But I saw this on one of my Facebook friends' pages, and I noticed, has an online blog on YouTube with some of his friends, and so I was checking it out. But anyway, this was the picture that it had, and it's, you know, it says, "Stop killing our own." And I agree that we do need to do that, not because it's just unique to us, but we have so many other issues that are going on. So we definitely need to stop killing our own. And one of the things that this gentleman was complaining about is because he's also a part of the LGBTQ community, and he was basically saying that, hey, you know what? Not only are we not valuing our lives, but my life is valued even less. You guys don't care about me. I'm out here fighting this battle with you, but at the same time, you will turn around and not support me. My whole thing is this, and I agree with him in a lot of ways. And some people are going to have a problem with me saying this, but right now, it's what I think, and my thoughts may evolve on this later, and I have that right to grow and change. But I'm going to say this. You don't have to like gay people. You don't even have to accept them. Now, some people are going to have a problem with that, but I'm just saying this. You don't have to like them. You don't have to accept them. But I do believe that you have to tolerate. And you have to understand that you need to give them the right to live the same way that you would want to live. Give them the right to their freedoms and their liberties. Even if you don't want to support them in every endeavor and everything that they do, you don't need to be acting out against them. You don't need to be trying to hurt people because you feel that they are different from you. These are people that are simply trying to live their lives the way that they want to as consenting adults and have their families be safe and happy and their partners be safe and happy. And they're not trying to reach out and do something to you or hurt you or harm you. And you have a responsibility to live and let live. So you at least have to tolerate and not take negative or adverse actions against them and work against them and preach hate. And I'm talking about regular people talking, spewing hate and venom about them. Just go about your business. They can go about theirs. But when you see someone harming someone simply because of who they are, I believe that you have an obligation to say, stop. You don't have a right to do that. You don't have a right to hurt someone. And the reason why is because these people do that for you. So I stand by that. The LGBTQ community supports the African American community. And I'm talking about Black LGBTQ people. And of course, you've got people of other ethnicities that are in that, just like in the heterosexual world, that are also supporting. But Black LGBTQ community people, they help the Black community. They support them. They're often out on the front lines protesting and things like that. And so at the very least, since they are supporting you, you can not allow harm and not lift your hands or your tongues to harm them. That's my 2 cents, and I believe that wholeheartedly. You will find that people like Bayard Rustin, who worked with Dr. Martin Luther King, who was the man behind the man, pushing him forward, they're not unique. These gay and lesbian Black people have been fighting this battle right along with heterosexual African Americans for a long time, the entire time. And that should be respected, because just like you heterosexual people feel that you don't want to be discriminated against for your feelings and your beliefs and for simply being Black, they feel the same way. We all feel the same way. We, as a people, want to be loved and treated with respect and dignity. So we all need to treat each other with love, respect, and dignity, even when we don't necessarily agree. All right. So I want to thank you again for visiting with me, and hey, I guess I'll say tune in again next time, or come chat with me again next time. This has been Rico, and thank you for stopping by.